Hello there guys, and welcome to round 12 of the Season 15 AOR Hype Energy F1 Leagues for the PS4. I am Joseph Willows. I would normally be joined by OTG alongside me doing commentary, but he's currently on holiday at the moment, either for a week or two. I'm not 100% sure how long he's out for. And I would usually be joined by our new backup commentator, Ali Kidd. But unfortunately, he's not available for today. So, just like in Monza, you've got just me. Joseph Willows here for round 12 of the championship, the final ever Malaysian Grand Prix for the AOR Hype Energy for the PS4. So, as we just get everything out there are some cars coming out on the track at the moment. So, if you didn't see what happened, 2 weeks ago now it has been since the last race at Austria, which was the Austrian Grand Prix at the Red Bull Ring. It was quite an eventful race in the end, with Michael taking yet another victory, must be said, 2 in a row for the Greek, and he just can't seem to stop winning at the minute ever since he came here, of course, and he's really been showing some really good pace as of late. And I'm trying to see who that guy was who passed Kian so we can view him. I think it's Super Scrub, I think. Yes, it is. So, after all, as a result, we initially thought 2 weeks ago at Austria that we thought that Ollie D would be taking a huge chunk out of Ajano Racing 5 joins us pretty much last minute, and I don't know if he was able to get in his right car at the right time, another reserve driver, by the way. But as I was saying, when we thought Ollie D would take a huge chunk out of Synthetic's lead after what has been a disastrous start for him at the race, Ollie D ended up getting a puncher in the end, and as a result, crashing out of the third to last corner allowed Synthetic to get 1 point, to the point where he's now 35 points clear ahead of Ollie D in the Drivers' Championship. So, with 4 races to go, possibly 3 if Ollie D can't make to Brazil, it's a tall order for the defending champion to ensure he defends the championship this season, even if it is a tough climb to do. As you can see, Super Scrub is about to start a lap. I think we'll ride on board with him then for the first flying lap here at Sepang International Circuit. And I've just got a note, of course, while we ride on board with Super Scrub as he comes down towards turns 1 and 2. And this is a note I have to read, of course. I want to say thank you to Apex Online Racing me for reminding me in this, of course, because thanks, well, this is mainly from our partners, Elgato. Tomorrow is Amazon Prime Day, specifically if you're watching this on a rerun, to Monday, the 16th of July, 2018 that is, if you're watching it a year later for some odd reason. So it is Amazon Prime Day tomorrow, and our sponsors, Elgato, will be having various products on sale for you, providing if you have Amazon Prime. Some of these products include the ones I've got here. Starting at 2:40 p.m. tomorrow, there'll be an offer for the Elgato Cam Link, which, as mentioned, starts at 2:40 p.m. BST. Then 3 hours and 15 minutes afterwards, so specifically 5:45 p.m. BST, there'll be a sale for the Elgato HD60S. And then the following day, on Tuesday at 9 a.m. BST, there will be a sale for the first time for the Elgato 4K 60 Pro. So if you have Amazon Prime and you're interested in any of those products, then please go and check them out on Amazon Prime. It is for a limited time offer, so it won't last for long. Just to mention, of course, though, all these times as Super Scrub crosses the line to do a 1 minute 31.870, as my lag there suggested that he wasn't. Just a note, of course, as well, as Keane goes to the top of the timing sheets, those times I mentioned, so 2:40 p.m. BST, 5:45 p.m. BST, and 9 a.m. on a Tuesday, are all in British summertime. So if you live outside the UK and Ireland, you will have to check and see what time that is in your area. On top of that as well, anybody who lives in the United States who is watching this right now, Amazon US is also listing some of the Elgato products that I've just mentioned on here right now, but not all of them. So if you're interested in any of those capture devices, I believe they are, then please go and check out those go and get them at the times when they are on sale tomorrow and Tuesday, of course. Thank you to Elgato for letting us know about these sales. You have done so far done us wonders as being a sponsor for AOR. But back to real time. Synthetic is currently fastest at the moment. The championship leader does a 1 minute 31.074 on the top of the board as Falcon goes second, Deal Killer third, Curly Willy fourth, Clarky fifth, Ollie D sixth, as as you can see, Curly Whirly, well, everything's updating now. Gemzo goes third in the Force India, as now Nardi X goes fastest in the Renault. And is there a problem for Synthetic? He's going really slowly out there, unless he's just letting people through. Probably just let people through there, but it was very slow there from Synthetic. But Nardi X goes fastest with a 1 minute 30.974. The first man to break into the 1 minute 30s today. So far there, Nardi X fastest, Synthetic second, Falcon third, Gemzo fourth, Eagle Killer fifth, followed by Curly Whirly in sixth, Clarky seventh, Ollie D eighth, Floris in ninth, Kian 10th, Michael 11th, Tim Palm 12th, Alex 13th, Pasty 14th, I Super Scrub 15th, and Dom NTG in 16th position. All these drivers did their times on the Super Soft tyre, so it looks like everybody's going to be starting on the quicker tyre for the race. As making his way out of the right-hander now then goes Nardi X. And 17 viewers at the moment watching this, so hello to all you 17 viewers. It's more than what we usually anticipate in these PS4 leagues, so thank you for the increasing support. And so Nardi X currently fastest. A few more guys have gone into the pits, probably waiting around for the right time to go out for their second flying lap, as we have just under 6 minutes of this qualifying session remaining to determine the grid for the last ever Malaysian Grand Prix for the AOR Hype Energy F1 leagues. So that's that then, really, and we'll be seeing these guys come into the pits next time by, which they are now then, as we look at the Malaysian flag there, which overhangs the last corner, pretty much sets the scene for that final corner, really, along with that whole grandstand, which goes from the second to last corner all the way to the bottom of the pit straight. So a really great place to sit, I would think, as everybody now comes back into the pits and to put on possibly a fresh set of super soft tyres to go out for one more time to see if they can try and find some improvement and maybe see if they can take pole. The gap between Synthetic and Nardi X is exactly 1/10 of each other, so very close at the moment, and you would feel that there may be more from Synthetic at this stage. Ollie D really needs to get a move on at this stage, as he's only down in 9th place. Remember, he comes into this race 35 points back from championship leader Synthetic, and desperately needs a move on if it is true that he will be missing Brazil. He is scheduled to do Malaysia, Japan and the United States this race and the next 2 races. He might not do Brazil, but if he does, it will be a breath of a release. But if he doesn't, he really needs to get a move on in these 3 races, including this one that we are currently on. As Dom, is he coming into the pits this lap, or is he actually doing another lap as he flicks on the DRS going down towards the last corner? Is he going in? Yes, he's going in. So yeah, I thought for a minute there he was on a flying lap, so a bit confusing why he put his DRS on, really, when he was on a flying lap, as it looks like he's got the automatic pit lane speed limits on, which is quite odd. I think it's quite rare now on F1 games that you see somebody with that, but unless he's been caught for speeding in the pit lane, then I don't 100% know. But we got 2 more cars out on the track in the form of Eagle Killer and Curly Whirly, as they look to try and improve upon their 5th and 6th respectively at this stage. Eagle Killer currently out qualifying Curly Whirly, and Eagle Killer letting Curly Whirly through, possibly to try and get some clear air himself, and possibly to allow Curly Whirly to get some clear air, quite strangely. But Curly Whirly, well, there's a lot of people who will feel there's probably a little bit of tension between himself and Ollie D after what had happened back at the Singapore Grand Prix, and we know that our usual co-commentator OTGX Gaming has been quite critical about it recently, but he's not here to judge that this weekend, so I think Curly Whirly, in a sense, can take a break from his criticisms, I suppose, as Curly Whirly goes up the hill towards the end of the 2nd sector as he prepares to start his 2nd flying lap around this glorious Sepang International Circuit. It is a shame that it is the last Malaysian Grand Prix for the AOR Hype Energy F1 leagues. I do quite like the Sepang International Circuit. It has a very good track, but hopefully we'll give this track a good send-up before we move on to F1 2018 next season for Season 16, because as we know, the F1 2018 calendar doesn't have the Sepang International Circuit, and nor will the game. So let's hope we can give this track a very, very good send-off, as Curly Whirly now then takes a wider line for the last corner to get himself the perfect speed down the pit straight as he starts his 2nd flying lap now then, heading down the pit straight, flicking on the DRS as he will now approach turns 1 and 2. This is probably where we're going to be seeing maybe a chance of a crash perhaps in the first lap, of course, because it is quite a tight first couple of corners, and it has been known in the past in Formula 1 for crashes to happen there, and even spins as well. Remember in 2016 when I think it was Sebastian Vettel who punted off Nico Rosberg a couple of seasons ago. In 2000, Pedro Della Rosa nearly got flipped over by a car, ending his race on the grass. 2003, a massive pile-up at the exit turn 2 caused by Michael Schumacher. The likes of Jarno Trulli, Juan Pablo Montoya, Antonio Pizzonia, and a couple of others as well getting involved in that carnage. And that was also the race and the year where Kimi Raikkonen went on to take his first Grand Prix victory, and Alonso went on to take his first ever Grand Prix podium. And it was where he took his first pole position as well, and Renault's first since they returned to the sport. So a lot of firsts happened that weekend. 2003 was quite a strange year, if I'm completely honest with you. I think I was only 6 years old when that race was happening. So yeah, that's that then really. And in fact, I could have been 5 actually, now that I think of it. Yeah, I was 5 years old. I wasn't 6 just yet. I was 6 later on in 2003. But anyway, as you can see now then, Curly Wurly had some traffic which got out of the way of him as he now goes down the DRS straight up towards the final corner. We go on the track, and let's see if this is going to be an improvement for Curly Wurly. With 55 seconds left on the clock, Curly Wurly crosses the line, and he remains in 6th position. No improvement for Curly Wurly. Didn't improve by 800ths of a second that time by. Here comes Diego Keller. Can he improve? And yes, he can. He goes fastest with a 1 minute 30.810. He goes a tenth quicker than Nardi X, and then gets beaten by his teammate Tim Palm. So it's currently a Red Bull 1-2 with Tim Palm fastest in this session at the moment, as a Falcon now goes fastest in the Sauber. So Falcon now going 500s quicker, or just under 500s quicker than Tim Palm. So the Sauber takes pole position for the minute now then, as Gemzo remains in 6th. Looked like a horrible lap for him there. As now we look at Michael, who's taking part in the Ferrari. He's still a reserve driver, so he's just taking part in seats when he can, really, because he can compete in the remaining few races. Michael now then heading down the pit straight. Can he try and challenge for pole across the line? And no, he cannot. That was a horrible lap from Michael. Maybe he'll do one more lap as the checkered flag is now out. That is the end of the session, and Michael looks like he's pushing hard to do another flying lap. Here's Kian in the McLaren as he looked like he had a tad bit of a lock-up going around the last corner there. Flicks on the DRS. What can the McLaren driver do? And he remains 12th, so not a good time for the Irishman there. His teammate, Dom NTG. I think he's a reserve driver, or he might be a regular driver, not 100% sure. Shows my knowledge so far with some of the drivers on the grid. Last few weekends, we've had a few reserve drivers pop in. As yellow flag in Sector 2, we'll have to keep an eye on Dom for the moment. Look like someone must have gone off because nobody has crashed on our screen. Dom goes up to 7th, so he gets his McLaren into the top 10, and it was a spinner. It was one of the Force Indias, as Nardi X goes back to the top with a 1 minute 30.455. Synthetic goes up to 3rd place, 3 tenths off Nardi X in the end there. Then here comes Ollie D. Can he try and get pole in the Mercedes? We ride on board with the Mercedes driver and the defending champion as he now approaches the final corner on the track. Can he improve on his lap time now then? A bit of a lock-up into the last corner as I think somebody else improved as well. I think Alex has actually got up to 4th place. Ollie D remains in 7th. No improvement, so not a good time from him. Here comes Flores, getting some slipstream from the Sauber in front. Flores crosses the line, goes up to 7th, pushes Ollie D down to 8th place. So another place loss for the championship leader. We now look at Gemzo, who's ran out of time. I think he was the one that spun earlier, so his lap has been ruined, and he's going to remain in 12th as a result. What about Falcon? Is he on another lap? He's coming around the final corner. No, he's diving into the pits. Michael has given up. He's only 9th in this session, so not what we're usually able to see of him for the last few weeks. And that is going to do it. Everybody has finished their laps, and it is Nardi X in the Renault who has taken pole position for the final ever Malaysian Grand Prix for the AOR Hype Energy F1 Leagues. And so he beat Falcon in the Sauber by just under 3 tenths of a second. That was all that covered it. And a further, I want to say a further 2600s back was Synthetic, the championship leader. So we will wait for the session to officially close. And that will be that then, really. There's Dom, who has, I think, retired straight after he completed his run. So, and he's going to be starting in 10th position for the Malaysian Grand Prix. He'll be able to try and do a good job in the McLaren. His teammate all the way down in 15th place, so Kian, with a lot to do in the other McLaren qualifying session here at the Sepang International Circuit. And as you can see, we just waiting around as his AI there decides to lose a wheel. And Falcon has retired, so 8 seconds left. It should come to a close in a little bit. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And there you have it then. So it is NardyX who takes pole position in the Renault. And he's ahead of Falcon and Synthetic, who rounds out the top 3 for the grid here at Sepang. So let's take you through the grid then for one last time. NardyX on pole position with Falcon in second, Synthetic third, Alex 4th, Tim Palm 5th, Deagle Killer 6th, Floyd 7th, Ollie D 8th, Michael 9th, Dom in 10th, followed by Clarky 11th, Genzo 12th, Pasty 13th, Curly Willy 14th, Kian 15th, and in last place is I Super Scrub in the Sauber. So whilst one Sauber starts in second, the other starts in 16th and last. 16 cars taking part, and hopefully we'll be in for a final Malaysian Grand Prix, a very great Malaysian Grand Prix as well. Let's hope to give this track a very good send-off as we get set for, I believe it is 28 laps around the Sepang International Circuit. Let's see what the weather is going to throw up for this race now then. Let's skip the F1 intro, and it is raining for the race, so we have a wet race here at the Sepang International Circuit. Ooh, this could throw strategy in a different direction. It's going to be very interesting to see. So leave your predictions in the chat, who you think is going to win. My money, I'm going to put it on Synthetic. I think he can get the job done from third place, but keep an eye on Michael down in ninth and Ollie D in 8th. They could throw a bit of a surprise in this Malaysian Grand Prix. 30 seconds remain on the clock as we get set for the final ever Malaysian Grand Prix now then. And we've got rainy conditions now then. Whether they'll start in the inters or wet conditions, we'll wait when we get onto the grid. And but this could throw the championship either way. Let's wait and see now then what this race is going to throw. 5 seconds after the clock. 4, 3, 2, 1 and 0 as we get set for the race here at Sepang. So here we are then. 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights are on. And for the final time in Malaysia, we are underway here at the Sepang International Circuit. It seems that the front two have got away very well indeed as they go down the straight. Falcon trying to tuck in, but he's got Synthetic trying to look to the inside as they all make their way down towards the first corner. Looks like NardyX has run a little bit deep into turn one. Synthetic down the inside of Falcon. Will he grab second place from the Sauber? He looks like he's going to try and hang it around the outside of NardyX into turn one. This will be an impressive start if the German pulls this off, and he has. The championship leader Synthetic takes the lead out of turn 2. He gets a jump on the second row and Synthetic leads. NardyX trying to get back at him but isn't able to do so. I think everybody has got through the first few corners safely as Michael has gained a place from his original place. He's up into 8th place. Jano, of course, joining as well. He obviously started down in last because he wasn't able to join qualifying in time, and he's in the Toro Rosso as he was back at Monza when we last, I think, saw him, as he had a little bit of a slide there through into the chicane, so clearly struggling in these wet weather conditions at the moment as they make their way out of the double right-hander for the first time today. Synthetic with a 6/10 of a second in front. Falcon trying to charge the beat time in the background. Ollie D looking to the inside of Tim Palm. Can he take 5th on the Red Bull? And yes, he can. Up into 5th place goes Ollie D. A little bit of side-by-side action between Dom and Deal Killer. A little bit of leaning towards each other. And Dom loses the back end and had to conceal. He's trying to have a look into the right to try and get the move done. Isn't able to do so. Clarky takes a line from Curly. Curly all the way down in 12th. Not a good start from him. Kian gains a few places from his starting place. 2 places to be exact. As now we go back to the front of the field. As you can see, Synthetic nearly a second clear now from Synthetic at the front of the field. As Falcon still 5/10 back from NardyX at this stage, as Ollie now tries to attack Flores for 4th place as they make their way in towards the final corner. Ollie taking a little bit more of an inside line compared to Flores at the end of lap 1 at 28 then. Here at the Malaysian Grand Prix, Synthetic leads, NardyX second, Falcon 3rd, Flores 4th, Ollie D 5th, Tim Palm in 6th, Michael up to 7th, Dom in 8th, Alex Sniper, Deal Killer rounding out the top 10 as Ollie looks to the inside of Flores now then, but isn't able to do so. Flores covers him off and holds on to 4th place for the Mariners. Meantime, looks like Deal Killer's down the inside of Alex into the first corner now. Then they go side by side through into turn 2 now. Then we ride on board with Deagle Killer round the right-hander. Looks like Alex is trying to lean on him now then as they go out of the corner, and Deagle Killer, I think, has just got the edge and moves up to 9th. And now look at Clarky. He's trying to follow through as well into the right-hander, and he's got the job done. So in the space of a few corners, corners. Alex has lost 2 places, and he's now outside the point and under threat now from Curly Welly. In fact, Curly's going to try and make a move around the outside into the chicane. Can he pull it off on the inside? And that's a beautiful pass from Curly Welly up into 11th place. Goes the Mercedes driver, as Kian in the background there having to fend off from I Super Scrub, as Jarno still struggling in these conditions, starting to drop back a bit from Pasty. Meantime, Nardi X has cleared off from Falcon, and look, he's right back on the prowl as Synthetic, as he wants to lead from the German now then, as they make the way round the right hander. The Spaniard fancying his chances for the lead of the race now then, after what has been quite an up and down season for Nardi X. Through the left and right hander we go. Usually it'd be flat out, but because it's wet, they'll have to lift off around that bit of the course now then. Nardi taking an inner line there, which might compromise his exit coming out the second to last corner as he tries to chase out Synthetic. Remember, no DRS because of the fact it's wet. It's going to have to be pure slipstream that's going to get you through in this race out. And Ollie D all over the backside of Flores, still stuck behind him. Will he go for the move down the inside into the final corner? He's going to have a go. Flores leaving the space, but Ollie just doesn't have the momentum and holds on to, and Flores holds on to 4th, as Tim Palm, Michael and Dom are starting to crowd behind Flores at the moment. Flores pretty much having his own version of the Truly train, it must be said. In towards the first corner, Ollie again looking to the inside to turn 1, but again Flores shutting the door and holding on to 4th place at the minute now then. As meantime, as you can see now then, as Alex has lost another place now because Gemzo has got up to 12th place in the Force India, so that's P12 for the Hype Energy Force India. That will bring a smile to the Hype Energy guys, as Jarno has finally made some progress, so he's finally got used to his car and has got ahead of Pasty for 16th place. Have started to gain the time back just a little bit. Round the turns number 5 and 6 we go. Synthetic still feeling the pressure from Nardi X at the moment, who is now nearly 2 seconds in front of Falcon. Falcon now starting to be closed up by the trainer cars that's falling behind. A little bit of a slide there from Flores. It's going to put him under threat from Ollie D. Will Ollie try and go for the move down into the airfield? We're right on board with the defending champion. In towards the left-hander as Flores defends, but he's left a gap on the inside. Will Ollie try and capitalise? He has a slide and isn't able to carry the momentum, but he's got a lot more speed coming in towards the right-hander at the beginning of sector 3, and that's a beautiful pass from the defending champion. Up to 4th place goes Ollie D. He pretty much mugged Flores off at that point, and he's now starting to get away from the Dutchman, and now Flores has got a lot more cars to contend with behind, including Michael, Tim Palm, who's in front of him at this stage, and Dom NTG. So a few cards there that Flores has to negotiate through, as I Super Scrub has left this session. Now, is that just a normal disconnect, or is he just thrown it? It might be just a disconnect. He could rejoin a little bit later on. So his AI is still running the race, so I would think it's probably just a normal disconnect. Hopefully he can rejoin a little bit later on, as Nardi X is starting to drop back now a bit from Synthetic. He's now a second behind, so Synthetic starting to get his foot down just a little bit, as Flores, I thought that Ollie was getting away a little bit, but it appears that Flores is still sticking with him at the moment. So it's now Ollie's turn to start up a bit of a train as they come out of turn 2. At the same time, they're trying to chase down Falcon for 3rd place. Out of the right-hander we go, as they will approach the 90-degree right-hander of turn 4. As Michael tries to attack the Eagle Killer into turn 4, but Tim Palm, sorry, not the Eagle Killer, it was Tim Palm. Tim Palm fends the position, and that's compromised Michael's entrance into the corner, and that's putting prey to Dom in the McLaren. As meantime, Curly Whirly in 11th, but looks like he's going to be attacked in a little bit by Gemzo in the Force India. Curly clearly not adapting to these conditions very well, and nor is Alex. So essentially the number 2 drivers at Mercedes and Williams clearly not faring well in these wet weather conditions here at Sepang, as we are now approached the hairpin, and he won't go for an attack there. He's going to hang back for the moment, as now look how close Ollie D is to the back of Falcon as he looks to try and get the podium place off the Sauber driver now then. Down towards the left and right hander. If we're going to have a pit stop, I would presume it will happen around about the halfway point of the race now then, so around about lap 13 to potentially 18, or unless some guys are going to actually stick it out and stay on these wet tyres. We'll wait and see, but it's a 50% race. I would expect tyre wear to still be a factor even if it is wet, as Nardi X is now within 0.6 of a second behind Synthetic, but he won't be close enough to try and pull a pass on him this time by Michael, trying to get a run on Tim Palm, but didn't look like it quite worked out for him, as he's still quite a bit back from him down the straight. Meantime, Flores is not giving up on Ollie D, so he's not really let the defending champion get away that easily at this stage. Into turn 1 we go, as we're now on lap 5 of 28 here at Malaysia, as the spray continues to pile out the back of the cars now then, as now up towards the right-hander we will go, as a little bit of a lock up there, it looks like, as everybody just having to tippy-toe their way around these conditions. They can't go flat through corners that they would normally go flat at, even if it was dry. As, losing the back end there goes Falcon coming out of the right-hander. There's my reason of why you should stay tippy-toeing round the corners. As now, look, he continues to slide. Can Ollie D now find a way through? He's going to go to the inside of Falcon, into the hairpin now, and this is going to be P3 for the defending champion. Down the inside he goes, and yes, he is. Although having saying that, Falcon's still sticking with him. He's kept the momentum into the corner. Falcon trying to outbreak him into this right-hander. Ollie's going to try and keep it side by side out the turn. Flores looking for any opportunity to pounce upon. Behind him now then, into the left and right-hander we go. Falcon went a bit wide, had to try and give Ollie the space, as now Falcon again going to the inside, and Flores trying to take full advantage, and that's just very cheeky stuff for Flores to get back up to 4th. Ollie D pretty much wasn't expecting Flores. Flores gets up to 4th, but Ollie would like that position back. That enables Falcon to keep hold of 3rd place. Down the inside goes Ollie again on Flores. Can he retake 4th on the Dutchman as they now come down the pit straight now then? And Flores just has the edge down the straight to get back that 4th place. And wow, it's brought everybody else, Tim Palm, Michael, and Dom now close to this scrap as well. As meantime now then, Tim Palm was having a look initially at Ollie D, but thought better of it, as now everybody again is stuck behind Falcon Sauber. Falcon taking a wider line there than what Flores did, going into that corner as they go around turn number 3 on the track, up towards turn 4. Flores has got a run on Falcon. Will he get the move done up towards turn 4? He goes to the outside, but Falcon able to fend off and hold on to 3rd. But can Flores get the traction going around this left-hander? Will he try and pull a similar move to what Curly Whirly did on Alex a little earlier? But he won't be able to. But Ollie is going to be a little bit more cheeky. Down the inside it goes. Looks like a bit of contact between Flores and Ollie. Ollie's still on the inside, and he retakes 4th with ease there. So pretty much the pair of them caught napping whilst they were fighting for Falcon there, and it's allowed Falcon to just have a bit of a gap now in front of these guys, as now into the hairpin we go. A very big scrap, and look at the background. Look, Michael having to fend off from Dom. Dom trying to find a way through on Michael at this stage, but just losing it a little bit in the wet patch, and holds and has to conceal, and Michael holds on to 7th. He's now trying to attack Tim Palm for 6th place. Yano gets a penalty, a 3-second turn. Michael trying everything in his power to find a way through on Tim Palm at the moment, and unable to do so. At this stage of the race, everybody kind of clocked together with each other at this stage of the race. Dom has dropped down 2 places. Deal Killer and Curly have taken 8th and 9th from him. Deal Killer having an attack on his own teammate Michael, looking to the outside line now then, making their way out of the final turn, heading down the pit straight. Michael just has the edge to hold off the Eagle Killer as they all come down the pit straight now. Then this is getting very close in this battle for 6th place. Tim Palm defends the inside from Michael. Michael tries to do the switch back into the first corner. Flores goes wide into turn 1. Luckily he doesn't lose any places. Tim Palm wasn't close enough. No movements at the moment, but as you can see, Curly Wally up to 10th place, and well, trying to get himself up into 9th as he goes down the inside of Dom as they go side by side. Clarkey involved as well. Clarkey takes 10th from Curly Whirly. Meantime, Michael attacking Tim Palm for 6th place, unable to get the move done. As off goes Gemzo. Gemzo was trying to find a way through unless he misjudged his braking and was just trying to avoid everyone. He's gone off, and that's allowed Alex to get up into 12th place as a result. So much going on within this little group that's going on. As meantime, Flores down the inside of Falcon. Falcon's lost a couple of places as well, as Ollie goes up to 3rd. Flores gets up to 4th place, so Falcon has lost the podium. And that's 3rd and 4th for Ollie D and Flores. Falcon trying to get back at Flores into the hairpin. A little bit of a slide there from Flores as Falcon tries to get back through, unable to make it. There's too much to keep up with. I'm struggling to keep up with everything that's going on. Clarkey fending off from Curly again as they fight for the final points place, as Falcon and Flores are still side by side with each other. Falcon briefly at the place, but Flores able to hold on to 4th. Can Falcon maybe get him into this right-hander as Flores went defensive into this corner, as there's a little bit of a gap on the inside. Can Falcon get a little bit more traction than what Flores can? This is all allowing Ollie to get away. He's now pulled 2 seconds on that scrap that's going on behind him as he now tries to chase down the top 2 in front of him. As Falcon down the inside again on Flores into the final corner. Has he retaken 4 from him? As there's side-by-side action between Alex and I think that's Curly Whirly as well. Side-by-side we go. So much to keep up with at this stage. Flores and Falcon have been battling each other for about half a lap now. Into turn 1, Falcon trying to break later into turn 1 isn't going to work out. Flores, but Falcon's still keeping his foot in, trying to see if there's a gap down the inside. Look at Tip Pop trying to run away through. The hand of Rage has gone out. It's 3 wide round the right-hander. Tip Pop had to back out because Falcon was not going to leave him the space. Michael takes full advantage and gets up to 6th place. Falcon again trying to look at Flores down, and Michael down the inside of Falcon takes advantage of that, trying to take 5th from the Sauber. Look at them all. They're all clogged up together around these asses. This is great racing between all of them at the moment. Falcon just holds on for Michael. And, wow, they're still really kicking off. At this stage, I'm struggling to even get a breath in at the moment. Into the double right-hander we go. And, well, coming out the turn now, then as you see Diego Killer having a go at his teammate for 7th place. Looking to the outside to the hairpin. Contact between the 2 Red Bulls. A little bit of contact between Michael and Tim Palm now then. Coming off the turn. Diego Killer hanging around the outside, and that's a beautiful pass from the Dutchman up to 7th place. Goes to Eagle Killer. Tim Palm trying to look back down the inside, but Eagle Killer having none of it as he fends off 7th place from his own teammate, as Tim Palm now has to fend off from the likes of Dom, Clarkey, and Curly Whirly, who's now caught us to the battle, and even a few more cars have caught up as well, so maybe even most of the pack are caught up. Down the inside goes Dom on Tim Palm, gets the dive done into the second to last corner and gets hold of 8th place. Clarkey now then trying to have a go at Tim Palm himself now then. Meantime, Michael down the inside of Flores as Falcon is retaken 4th from Flores now then, tries to have a go, and Flores is bailed out. He's going into the pits. He's trying to get out of this scrap. In fact, 2 more cars are as well. Gemzo, no, it wasn't Gemzo, it was Clarkey and Curly Welly, so 3 cars in at this point to try and see if they can get the undercut or the overcut in the pits. On the straight now then, as mentioned, Dom has taken 7th place from Tim Palm now then. And, well, let's try and take a breather if we can, as the 2 VGIA guys were fighting it out for 4th, but Falcon was able to keep the momentum. Wow, I need to have a breather after that because that was very close indeed. Now then, as you can see, Gemzo now fighting with Alex for 9th place. Meantime, Flores rejoins 14th, Curly 15th, Clarkey 16th. So Clearly has actually got the jump on Clarkey in the pits, so Curly gains a place from the Toro Rosso. So I think that will be, either P10 or P9 in the race for Curly. Not 100% sure. Here's iSuper Scrub still yet to rejoin. And I think it might have been a rage quit, perhaps, because I would have thought he would have joined at this point, but he hasn't. Meantime, these 2 were close together, but it's now up to 1.6 seconds. The top 2 have stretched themselves out just a little bit in this race now then. And that's that really as far as I can tell. A little bit of a slide there from Nardi X. There's Ollie trying to close these guys up if he can, and trying to see if he can try and get his slice of the pie in that battle for the lead of the race. Through the second to last corner we go, heading down this long straight as we soon approach this final corner. And so up towards the left-hander we will go on the track. And so just coming out of the final corner now then, will Michael try and get a run on Falcon as somebody else bails into the pits? That looks like Gemzo in the Force India. Yes, it is. Gemzo into the pits for Force India. And I would imagine it would be for another set of inters. I don't think it's at the point where it's going to be wet or even full wet, or even to the point where it's going to start to dry out. So let's see anyway. And yeah, it is another set of the intermediate tyres. So no real surprises there as far as I can see. Sitaki has now pulled a 2-second lead in front of Nardi X at the front of the field at the moment, as these lot have kept single file now then. So I think they're kind of in that stage where they're just working towards the pit stop stage of the race as they make their way around the swooping turns 5 and 6 on the track. And well, that's that really as far as they're concerned. Round the right-hander we go, as we will now approach the double right-hander, as these 4 are still kind of grouped together at the moment, or I should say 5. Meantime, the Eagle Killer all over the backside of Michael, looking to retake 5th from the Ferrari if he can. Unable to do so, Michael sticks to his guns and holds on to 5th place for the minute, as they will now approach the second to last turn on the track. And you wouldn't be surprised if some people get undercuts and overcuts whilst they make their one and only stop, I would assume it is. It does look like the rain's starting to lighten up just a little bit, but not to the point where we're at the point where it's going to be dry tyres. So it could dry up towards the end, but we will wait and see. As you can see, look, the sun is starting to come out on the top there, look. So there is a chance we could have dry conditions by the end of the race, and maybe even a dry line start to merge around the final turn as Michael peels in. Looked like he clipped the back of Falcon there as he was trying to get into the pit. Luckily he hasn't sustained some damage, I don't think. Although in fact, looking at it, looks like a bit of his right hand side of his front wing has got a little bit damaged, so I wouldn't be surprised if there'll be a change of front wing coming the way for the Ferrari driver. Into the box then goes Michael, and yes, a front wing change is needed. I wonder if that was the damage that was sustained after he clipped the back of Falcon trying to go into the pits there, as Jarno's also in, as is the AI of I Super Scrub. So these guys are in for another set of inters, as Curly Whirly now sets the fastest lap at 1 minute 47.207 here at the Sepang International Circuit. Michael is going to come out in 15th position, so essentially second to last because of I Super Scrub's AI. And Michael rejoining where he is, hoping to see if he can gain a lot in that battle after his pit stop. Jarno finishes his stop here, rejoins 16th as I Super Scrub is, of course, nearly, I think he's actually now a lap down from the rest of the pack due to the fact that he disconnected a little bit earlier on, and he still is disconnected. At this stage, these lot have still stayed out, unlike Michael, who's bailed, as meantime Don tried to get a little bit racy there and had to literally try and avoid Deal Killer there, meaning he had to go a tad bit wide, meaning that Tim Palm might fancy his chances of trying to retake 6th from the McLaren driver, but Dom still on the prowl of the Eagle Killer for 5th place. I wonder if the Eagle Killer will respond and start to pit at this stage before Dom might start to put an overtake on him at the moment. In towards the second to last turn we will go now then, as you can see Deal Killer running a little bit deep into the second to last turn, and he gets a little bit of a wiggle there. That could help out Dom a little bit. He's going to stay within his slipstream, so tucks behind him and see if he can get a run into the final turn. Now, will any of these guys pit this time by? Falcon is going to stay out. What about the Eagle Killer? No, he's decided to stay out, as has Dom and Tim Palm, and so has Alex. So these guys, surprisingly, have decided to stay out for another lap. Let's see, can Dom try and get a move on the Eagle Killer as we get a helicopter view down towards turns 1 and 2 on the track, as Dom goes for the dive down the inside of Deal Killer into turn 1. A little bit of contact between the McLaren and the Red Bull into turn 2. Deal Killer trying to stay with him now then, as Dom tries to hang it around the outside. There's still enough space coming around this long sweeping turn 3. Has Dom got the edge? Side by side they go, as Gemso sets the fastest lap at 1 minute 46.890, and yes, he has Dom up to 5th, but Deal Killer going back on the inside of him into turn 4. Coming off the exit now then, will Deal Killer try and get him back round turns 5 and 6 now then? No, Dom holds on, and that's 5th place for the McLaren driver. And wow, brilliant move there from Dom into the first 2 corners there to get hold of the Red Bull. Next target for him is Falcon in the Sauber in front of him as he makes his way around the double right-hander on the track. A little bit of a slide there from the McLaren driver, but not losing too much time, and he's already right on the prowl of the Sauber driver, breaking later into that left-hander compared to Falcon. And at the moment, just an update on Ollie. He's now 3.4 seconds back from the RDXs. Look at the dive again. Dom again with the dives going into the inside of Falcon. Can he get 4th on the Sauber? Side by side they go into this quick left right-hander. And, Dom's been pushed quite a bit by Falcon. That's going to allow Deal Killer to get back through. And that's 5th place. And Deal Killer fancying his chances on Falcon as well. Looking at 4th place from the Sauber. Tucks back into his slipstream. Will any of these guys pit this time by? In towards the final corner we will go. Deal Killer in the slipstream. He's got to look to the inside. Will he pull the move off into the final corner? Down the inside he goes, and Falcon isn't going to go in. Nobody is again. So again, these guys are going to stay out. Falcon and Deal Killer side by side down the pit straight now. Then it's close to call as Dom looks for any opportunity to pounce. Ollie D is into the pits from 3rd place, and meantime he needs to get back to his battle. And still side by side go Eagle Killer and Falcon as they fight for a temporary 3rd place. Eagle has the inside into turn 2, slides a little bit into the corner. Dom looking for any opportunity to pounce as well. Through the right-hander we go. They're still side by side around turn 3. Gemso, another fastest lap at 146.885. Up towards turn 4 we go, as Falcon's still on the inside. Ollie D rejoins in 10th. For the moment after his pit stop. Side by side they still go as they now make it around these S's, and Deagle Killer gets 3rd place from Falcon. Brilliant move from Deagle Killer, and that's P3 for the Dutchman in the Red Bull. It will be P4 I think by the time that these guys make their pit stop, because Ollie D has just made a pit stop from 3rd and he's now up to 9th. He's just disposed of Kian very quickly, so the defending champion not wasting any time whatsoever. Dom now, then will he try to go for the dive? Yes, he will again. The master of the dives down the inside. He has been this race as he tries to go down the inside. Oh no, he loses the back end. He takes Falcon with him, and well, I wouldn't be surprised if Falcon is angry with that one, and well, I wouldn't be surprised if the pair then will make a trip to the steward's room after that one. Dom and Falcon have wrecked each other's races right there. It promotes Tim Palm and Alex and Pasty up to 4th, 5th and 6th respectively, down to 7th and 8th, and now they've got Ollie D all over the backside of him there. Then well, that is not what we anticipated at all, and it's not what you say, and I wouldn't be surprised if that'll be a trip to the steward's room between the pair of them there. Then it might be just a racing incident, because let's not forget, it looked like Dom caught the wet patches. Ollie D gets by on Falcon very quickly. Falcon didn't put up a fight, and Ollie D gets up into 8th place there. So, but we'll wait and see what the stewards think about that incident, whether any of that, either Dom or Falcon will want that incident investigated, or they'll just shake hands and just let it slide, really. We'll wait and see. As meantime, I think that's calmed things down now a bit, as now Alex starts to pile the pressure on Tim Palm in front. Michael now sets the fastest lap in the Ferrari, so he hasn't really gained anything. In fact, because these guys haven't pitted yet, he's still 15th for the moment, but Michael setting the fastest lap in the Ferrari, as he's 3.3 seconds back from Clarkey, and I think he's pitted as well, so Clarkey has got in front of Michael. So not good news then for Michael in the Ferrari, as now into the double right-hander we go, as Ollie is now getting onto the backside of Dom in the McLaren, and I wouldn't be surprised if Dom just makes it easy for him to get by. I think he realises he's not racing the Mercedes. I think he'll just let him go very easy, won't put too much of a fight on, and yeah, he just lets him through with ease there. Ollie D up into 7th place as he just makes his way round the left-hander and tries to chase after Nardi X's teammate Jim Pasty for 6th place. I think Pasty is still yet to make a stop, of course, so I don't think he'll put too much of a fight. He might, considering that his teammate is up in 2nd place and could be fighting with Ollie D for the majority. Synthetic is in. He pulled a gap of 4.2 seconds in front of Nardi X. The Eagle Killer now gets a time penalty for excessive corner cutting, but the race leader is in, as is Nardi X, so both the top two are into the pits, this time by on lap 15 of 28, as they'll put on a fresh set of intermediates now then, as the Williams mechanics finished off their pit stop. Nardi X is now into his box, so Synthetic won't need to worry too much about Nardi X. He had a 4.2 second cushion in front anyway, as the Eagle Killer stays out to take the lead temporarily, as will Tim Palm to make it a Red Bull 1-2, but I think these two will probably make a pit stop anyway, as Synthetic rejoins right behind teammate Alex. I wouldn't be surprised if there's team orders at Williams. I wouldn't be surprised if Alex actually lets Synthetic go, but having said that, of course, Alex is fighting with Tim Palm, so if he wants to let him go, he'll have to hope that Synthetic gives him a helping hand, as Nardi X and Ollie D go side by side. Nardi X came out right into the path of Ollie D coming out the pit. Ollie D down the inside of Nardi X, and this is exactly what the Merc driver needs, and he gets the plate. They overtake Don. Ollie D up into 5th place, but Nardi X hasn't given up. He goes side by side with him into turns 5 and 6, but Ollie D just has the edge and holds on to 5th place, and that will be a provisional 2nd place once the top three, once Eagle Killer, Tim Palm and Alex pits, and just as predicted, Alex has let Synthetic go and has got up now into 3rd place, and up to 2nd it looks like Tim Palm has also let Synthetic go. He realises he's not racing him, so now Alex and Tim Palm can resume their battle, and Alex may want to help out his teammate a bit, as Ollie D is in 5th place, but he's still having to fend off from Nardi X at this stage of the race. Meantime, Flores gets by on Gemzo. Looks like Gemzo let his own teammate through there as a result, as Falcon is Flores' next target. So surprisingly, Falcon still came out in front of Flores, despite the fact that he had the contact with Dom, and still came out after he made his stop, of course, because let's not forget, Flores was the first person out of that group of cars to make a pit stop, just to bail out and dive in. So Yeah, so very surprising there as far as they're concerned. Meantime, Alex all over the backside of Tim Palm as Nardi X hasn't given up on Ollie D even now. Then will Alex try and go for a move on Tim Palm into turn 1. Tim Palm fends off for now. What about Nardi X on Ollie D as they make their way down towards turn 1? Nardi X looking to the onto the outside of Ollie D. Round turn 1 we go. Ollie D covers him off. Nardi X trying to go to the outside into turn 2. Can he try and do the switchback coming up the turn? Can he get the momentum out the corner now then? Not quite, but can he get a run up towards turn 4 we go? Is Nardi X going to try and retake the place from Ollie D that he lost on the previous lap now then? Nardi X down the inside of Ollie, but thinks better of it and backs out of the potential move, and that might have cost him a bit because it looked like he went a little bit deep there. And now there's a 4/10 gap between Ollie D and Nardi X. As a result, we take Flores and Falcon going side by side with each other into turn 4. Flores gets the place, as does Gemzo. So both Force Indias working together and getting up to 7th and 8th respectively. P7 for Flores and P8 for Gemzo. As a result, Curly Whirly now trying to attack Falcon, it seems, for 9th place. He's also got Clarkey all on the backside. Curly down the inside of Clarkey. Can he get the move done down the inside into the double right-hander? They're keeping it side by side. Falcon going a tad bit wide just to give Curly the space. And Curly takes 9th, but Falcon trying to get the move back into that left-hander. But I'm saying that Clarkey looking to the outside of Falcon into the left-hander now, then coming off the turn. And now coming into the beginning of Sector 3, has Clarkey just got the edge on Falcon despite a little bit of a slide? Yes, he has. Clarkey up into 10th place, gets the move done on Falcon. And now Falcon under pressure, it seems, from the Ferrari of Michael, as now his fellow VGI guy, and they've both taken each other out. Falcon has spun at the left right-hander, and Michael had to jam on the brakes and got held up. Oh, I wonder if there'll be an argument between the two VGIA guys. Falcon making another mistake, and he's got a puncture as well. You can just see it on the back left of his tyre. Falcon has got a puncture. What a shame for him after a really good qualifying session, which he could have had a chance of a podium. It's all come to naught, and it is and it looks like Falcon gonna have to make a trip to the pits. He's still losing it. Is he gonna whack the wall? He is. He just about avoids retirement there, but it's gonna have to be a trip to the pits for Falcon. He just gets it back in, but that's a disaster for Falcon as a result. Dom now sets the fastest lap of the race as Ollie D has got by on Alex for 3rd place. While we are looking at all that kicking off, Ollie D has got up to 3rd. Nardi X, is he also going to follow through? And yes, he is. So Nardi X gets hold of 4th place in this race now then. And that's the position for him. Now Tim Palm wants to try and get hold of him if he can. In fact, is he got a puncher, in fact, on the front left? Yes, he has the front left. Tim Palm has also got a puncture, so that's the 2nd puncher in this race. Tim Palm is suffering from a puncture, it looks like, as you can just see on the front left there, and that's going to have to be a trip to the pits for Tim Palm, and it's a disaster for the Red Bull driver, and that's exactly what Gemzo, who's passed Flores unseen by the cameras, so Gemzo gets by on his teammate, and that'll be P6 for Gemzo, P7 for Flores, Curly 8th, Clark in 9th, and it will put Michael back into the points positions. So lots of things kicking off. That's 2 punches we have seen in this race now then. As Falcon has retired, he's given up, and that's his race done with. Meantime, the battle for 30 still continuing. Nardi looking to the outside of Ollie D. Deal Killer finally goes into the pits. Ollie D tries to get back at him, but goes a tad bit deep. Nardi X takes full advantage and gets up into a provisional 2nd place in the race. A fantastic move from the Spaniard as they now approach the first 2 corners on the track. Deal Killer and Alex are both finally into the pit, so that's going to be P4 for Gemzo. As Curly Whirly has gone for as well. Flores is actually back into the pits. Why is Flores back in? We know that Tim Palm has to come back in because of a puncher, but why is Flores back in? He pitted earlier. So that's a 2nd stop for Flores, so that's a chance of points perhaps come down the toilet for the Dutchman. As well, that's that really, and a change. It must be that. It must be a change of front wing needed for Flores. And he had to wait for Tim Palm to go through, so Tim Palm gets it for the Flores. As a result, Passy all over the backside of Deal Killer. In fact, Deal Killer's on a set of softs. He's on a set of super soft tyres. He's taking a gamble. It looks like the track might be starting to dry out in a bit. So Deal Killer's taking a gamble and has gone to the set of super soft tyres. So, very interesting stuff, it must be said. Didn't really expect that from Deal Killer, it must be said. And well, that's that. I'm just looking at the tyres. Yeah, 2 guys are actually on a set of super softs. Dio Killer on a set of super softs, Alex on a super soft, Tim Pom on mediums, Floris is also on the medium tyres, and Yano and Kian on a set of softs. But they're still struggling at the moment. It's not quite time yet for the dry tyres, but I think when it gets to the point where it becomes dry, they will have an advantage and start to catch up to the rest of the pack. So this could actually work out an absolute treat for them at this stage. So yeah, that's that then. So interesting stuff going on. Meantime, back to this battle for second between Nardi X and Ollie D as they make their way round the final turn on the track. And Nardi X is going in. Is he going onto a set of dry tyres? Nardi X is bailed out. And is this going to be a dry set of tyres for Nardi X? He's probably seen that some of the field has gone to a set of dry tyres. Let's see if Nardi X is playing the same thing in the Renault now. Then there are his mechanics waiting for him. What are the tyres that he's going to be on as he goes into the pits, and they look like super soft tyres. Yes, they are, as Kian is out of the race. What has happened to Kian? Kian is out, and it looks like he's disconnected. He might have rage quit. And Falconer, you don't know if he just rage quit or not. But Nardi X is on a set of dry tyres. Super soft tyres on for him. And Gemzo going on a set of soft. So it looks like the track might be drying out. And that is a set of dry tyres for Nardi X. So these guys taking a real gamble. Nardi X, this could either pay off for him or not, as he may try and go for the victory because Synthetic and Ollie D have stayed out on the set of Inters, the championship contenders. So this could either work out or backfire for Nardi X at this stage. As meantime, Clarkey is starting to gain onto the back of Curly Welly, and it does look like it is dry out there. I can't really see any spray coming out. Well, I see a little bit, but it's not quite at that point. It looks like these guys are struggling on the Inters, so I do believe it is time for for the slick tyres to come on. Will any of the top two decide to do it? They've probably heard that Nardi X has gone to a set of dry tyres. So are they planning the same thing as Synthetic and Ollie D? Going to come in this lap for a set of dry tyres? Are they actually going to stick it out on the Inters? Let's see as they make their way up towards the final corner. Is Synthetic going to do it? No, he's staying out. So Synthetic staying out on set of Inters. Is Ollie D going to do the complete opposite of his rival as he goes around the left-hander? And no, he's staying out. So very interesting stuff. And well, so yeah, none of the top two deciding to come into the pits this time by. What about Curly Whirly? He's on a set of Inters. No, he's staying out. Clarkey also staying out. So some of these guys feeling it's not quite time for the dry tyres, but Michael does. Michael's coming in, looking like, I believe, for a set of dry tyres in the Ferrari, as he now flicks on the pit limiter. Into the pits comes Michael from 5th place. And, well, this is going to get quite interesting, as we've now kind of on a split strategy, it must be said. And he's going on to a set of soft tyres. So he's going on to the Yellow War soft tyres. And, well, he's now onto the dry set along with most of the pack. Through goes Nardi X into P7 as he tries to chase down his teammate Jim Pasty for 6th place, as he's got a 5-second gap to try and close. And let's see where Michael rejoins. Michael rejoins in P11, just behind Alex in the Williams, who's also on a set of dry tyres, but he's on the super softs, so his tyres could wear out towards the end, and Michael's could come in a little bit later on in the race. So we'll wait and see on that. As meantime, we'll wait and see if these tyres are working out. As Nardi X, well, he's not really getting on to Pasty, but he's not going very slow at the moment. He's still going quite quickly around the track. So clearly the soft tyres are slowly starting to get there. The DRS is enabled, so that usually means that it is time for the dry tyres. We know how Codemasters games work. Once it says DRS enabled, it means that it is time for the dry tyres. Now will any of the top two bail in to go onto a set of dries as they go around the final corner? Yes, Synthetic in for a set of dry tyres, and I wouldn't be surprised if Ollie also follows suit as well. Synthetic into the pits now then, as he just flicks on the pit limiter. Is Ollie D gone into the pits as well? And yes, he has as well. So Ollie D also following in. Curly Whirly will do as well. Luckily, there won't be a risk of a double stack because he's too far back from Ollie D, so Mercedes won't need to worry about that. Synthetic going onto a set of super soft tyres. What about Ollie D? He's also on a set of super soft tyres. So super soft tyres for him. What about teammate Curly? Where's Nardi X on the track as these tyres are now starting to kick in? I think he's not going to get the lead. Synthetic still leading the way, so he still resumes in the lead. Ollie D is going to emerge in 2nd place, so you'd have to question that Nardi X came in a little bit too soon. He now sets the fastest lap, but Ollie D now with a comfortable gap in front of Nardi X. Super softs for Clarkey. Curly Whirly, he's also on super softs, as is Dom's on a set of soft tyres. Pasty What's he going on? He's going on to a set of super soft tyres, so the same tyres as his teammate Nardi X. Out of the pit lane he goes. Tim Palm now sets the fastest lap, as does Flores, so lap time starting to come down on the medium tyres for Flores, so 1 minute 43.879 at this stage of the race. As, comes out right at the path of Flores, and Flores for some reason has stayed out on the intermediate. I don't think that's very wise, Flores, considering that we've got the notification that the DRS is now enabled. So I think right there, I think Flores has shot himself in the foot, so a disaster for the Dutchman, as he has not pitted at the right point. So not a good time for him as a result. Meantime, we've got a battle brewing for 6th place between Curly Whirly, Michael, and Alex now. Then Alex closer to Michael than what Michael is on Curly Whirly in front. Up towards the hairpin we go. As remember, of course, Alex on the super softs, Michael on the softs. Flores gets a 3-second time penalty. So he's usually one for getting those sorts of penalties, and it's continued here this weekend. Alex coming out the second to last turn on the track now then. And he's losing a bit of time now to Michael. Michael's quickly gaining onto Curly Whirly for 6th place at this stage. As Gemzo slowly closing out onto the Eagle Killer for 4th place at the moment in the Force India. As Nardi X, judging for the fact that he pitted a little bit too soon, he's now 6.3 seconds back from Ollie D. Passy now gets a time penalty for multiple warnings. So he joins the list of people who have got time penalties, as Nardi X now sets the fastest lap at 1 minute 41. And now Gemzo does on the set of sauce at 141.105. The lap times are coming down every lap now then. We could be soon into the 30s region. So be aware of that in these remaining 7 laps. Tim Palm, fastest lap, 141.005 now then. Alex has dropped back from Michael. He's under threat now from Clarkey in the Toro Rosso. Meantime, Genzo all over the backside of Diego Killer for the for 4th place in this race. So kind of rekindling their battle a little bit from earlier on. Round the left and right-hander we go. He's on the set of soft tyres. Diego Killer's on super softs, which is the quicker tyre, but they'll wear out before the softs, I would suspect. So Gemzo still running a little bit quicker. Looked like Diego Killer went a tad bit wide for that double right-hander. A little bit of a slide there for Gemzo as they will approach the hairpin on the track now then. As they go up the hill towards the right-hander. A little bit more of a slide for Gemzo, and that could cost him a bit of time now between himself and Diego Killer. The Hype Energy boys hoping that their man can get ahead of Diego Killer for 4th place in this race, as they will now approach the right-hander. As Diego Killer's gone deep, and Gemzo takes full advantage, and that's P4 for the Force India. As Synthetic, the race leader, sets a 1:37.820, the first man into the 1 minute 37s today, and the race leader sets the fastest lap. He's got a 7.6 second lead in front of nearest rival Ollie D. If it stays like this, the gap will be 42 points between the pair of them. And I think, if I'm correct, Synthetic will have a golden opportunity to wrap up the championship next week in Japan, providing he gets ahead of Ollie D by a number of points in the race. Yano gets a time penalty now, since somebody else had set the fastest lap of the race now then. As meantime, Clarkey now then all over the backside of Alex as he tries to get hold of 8th place now then from the German. Round the right-hander we go, and now up towards the 90-degree right-hander we will soon go, as he tries to find a way through and find a weak point in the German's driving. As now through towards the left and right-hander we go, and as looks like their battle is ensuing a little bit. Clarkey and the Dom's not far behind this scrap either. Speaking of Dom, he's just got a time penalty now for multiple corner cuts. So I don't know if he's already got a list of penalties, so that will probably add to the list of penalties he's already got. As now into the hairpin we will go. And so now we will approach the right-hander on the track now. Then riding on board with Clarkey. Nardi has dropped back a bit more from Ollie D. The gap 6.8 seconds between second to third. 5 laps remaining in this race. Synthetic with another fastest lap of 1:33.485. Out of the second to last turn we go. Ollie D now sets the fastest lap with a 1:35.156. The gap 7.3 seconds between Synthetic and Ollie D in this race now. And Clarkey not close enough to make a move on Alex, even though he had the DRS that time by. But will he get a run down the pit straight now then? DRS flicked on Now then, Curly Whirly with a 1 minute 34.478, so now he holds on to the fastest lap of the race. Dom also has the DRS behind his guys, a bit too far back. Will Clarkey try and dive it down the inside of Alex? No, he's going to hang back as Alex fends off 8th place for now. The pair of them at the same time, slowly closing on to Michael for 7th place at the moment. You can tell how dry it is now because they're really going quickly around these corners now, then going flat through corners, which they couldn't when it was Inter's conditions, as now up towards the 90-degree right-hand. Oh, never mind, a false error there, kind of like it was at Singapore 2 races ago, so false alarm there, a little bit of lag from my end there, I do apologise. As now up towards the 2 corners we go. Alex only 1.1 back now from Michael. Curly Whirly now then starting to gain onto Deal Killer. Deal Killer starting to lose time to Gemzo now then as he's 1.4 seconds back from the Force India, and Curly looking to fight him out for that place in towards the right-hander now then before approaching the flat-out left and right-hander of the forward and third to last turns, as the users had a lot of curve through there. Synthetic with another fastest lap of 1:34.167, but the gap has come down to 6.7 seconds as Ollie D sets another fast lap of 1:33.609, the first man to break into the 1:33s. Clarkey with the DRS, he's in the slit here. Alex, will he try and go for the move into the last corner? Down the inside goes to Toro Rosso, he gets the inside, and that's P8 for Clarkey. And up into 8th place goes the Toro Rosso of Clarkey. Curly Whirly with a 1 minute 33.409, setting a faster lap than teammate Ollie D. Now, Alex doesn't have the DRS, and now he's on the prey from Dom, who looks to the inside, into turn 1. Will Dom get the move done? In the McLaren, down the inside. Alex trying to stick with him, but isn't able to do so. Dom up into 9th place in the McLaren, and that is 2 championship points coming the way of the McLaren. Now Dom will try and challenge Clarkey for 8th place if he can, as it looks like Alex might be starting to drop back a bit from these 2 now. Then Clarkey slowly closing in on Michael now for 7th place. And now round turns 5 and 6 now then as we enter the closing stages of this final ever Malaysian Grand Prix. Curly Whirly all over the backside of Deal Killer. Will he go for the move into the hairpin? Deal Killer defends the inside as Curly tries to hang it around the outside into the hairpin. Up the hill we go. Curly Whirly on the inside he goes, and he gets the place. A little bit of a shove, but Curly Whirly up into 5th place. And now with 4 laps to go, can he cut down 2 seconds to try and get Gemzo for 4th place here at Malaysia? As meantime Clarkey slowly closing in on Michael for 7th place. Alex still sticking with Dom, but still not close enough to get him. He'll have the DRS, but he'll need quite some good traction out of the corner, which he doesn't, to get hold of him. Plus Dom has DRS on Clarkey. DRS galore down this long straight. Clarkey now getting close to the gearbox of Michael in the Ferrari. Meantime, the Eagle Killer has not given up on Curly. He's still fighting him for 5th place as they now go down towards turn 1. Clarkey, will he get the move done on Michael into turn 1? Will he dive it down the inside? No, thinks better of it. It's going to hang back for the moment. 3 laps remaining in this Malaysian Grand Prix. An amazing Malaysian Grand Prix, must be said, with these changeable conditions. And, well, Malaysia never fails to impress when it comes to wet weather and changeable conditions, that's for sure. Meantime, Clarkey now then up the hill. He looks to the inside of Michael. Can he get the move done? Into turn 4. Michael just leaves in the space on the inside as it goes side by side. Into turns 5 and 6. Clarkey trying to hang it around the outside. Into turn 6. It will turn to the inside. And he gets the place. 7th place goes to Clarkey in the Toro Rosso. As now Dom will try and get a piece of Michael if he can. But Michael's still sticking with Clarkey. At this point now then, Deal Killer now has dropped back from Curly Whirly. The gap 1.2 seconds. Michael unable to dive it down the inside into the hairpin now then, as he still sticks with the Toro Rosso at this stage. Synthetic will soon start the penultimate lap of this Malaysian Grand Prix, as now we approach the flat out left and right-hander on the track. Up towards the second to last turn we go. Michael, can he try and get it back, as Falcon has now left the session after retiring earlier? So that might make it harder for DRS users down the straight, as drivers have touched upon in the last couple of weeks when we've interviewed them. As DRS for Michael and Dom down the last corner. The penultimate lap has been started for Synthetic. Dom goes deep into the final corner. That could put him prey to Alex, but the German does not take full advantage, and he's still 1.4 back at that corner. As we go down the straight, Michael again having to find a way through. Clark, he's going to try and look to the outside into turn 1. Can he hang it around the outside, which will turn to the inside into turn 2? Michael tries to dive it, but Clark, he shuts the door. Into turn 2, out of the turn we go. Then we're on this long swooping turn 3. We will go on the track up towards turn number 4. We go. Michael looks to the inside of Clarkey. Will he get the move done? Can he try and pull a similar move to what Clarkey did on him earlier? No. Clarkey holds on to 7 for the moment. Michael now has Dom all over the backside of him, looking to get 8th place from the Ferrari. Now through the right-hander we go. As looks like Michael with a little bit more momentum and traction coming out of turn 6. The Eel Killer with another 3-second time penalty. So whether that will affect his position, we'll have to wait and see, compared to Clarkey, who is in 7th place for the moment. As Clarkey still having to fend off a Michael who he hasn't shook off since the last couple of laps. Meantime, Synthetic starts his final lap of the Grand Prix. He's got a 7.5 second lead in front of Synthetic, and he even sets another fastest lap as well, a 1 minute 33.304. This man has just completely dominated the race ever since he took the lead at the start, and not even changeable conditions could stop him in the end. Synthetic looking good to take another victory this season and to increase his lead up to 42 points in the Drivers' Championship, with a golden opportunity to wrap it up in Japan next week. So, as they come round the right-hander, Synthetic goes around that corner for the final time. Meantime, Michael still on Clarkey. He does the switch back into turn 1. Oh, Michael, get the move done into turn 1. Trying to look to the inside. He's now on the outside, but can he do the switch back coming out of turn 2? As he tries to find a way through. It looks like he didn't get the momentum. Clarkey stays in front for the moment. As we go up now then towards turn 4 on the track. Michael not close enough. Clarkey just able to stay in front for the moment. Dom looking for any opportunity to pounce upon in the McLaren. Again, just didn't have the traction coming out of turn 4 there, but he's still carrying the momentum through turns 5 and 6 to try and get Michael for 4 championship points. And a lot closer than what he was last lap, but will he be able to get him? He's only got a few more opportunities perhaps to try and get 8 from Michael. In the end, Michael is not going to get 3 in a row, it seems, in this race, because here comes Synthetic. Will come up now then towards the final corner, and the championship leader proving why he is a worthy contender of being a champion this season right in the final corner. And it is Synthetic who wins the Malaysian Grand Prix here at Kuala Lumpur. He wins the final Malaysian Grand Prix. Congratulations to him, a fully deserved victory for the German. Ollie D crosses the line in 2nd. He loses more points to Synthetic in the Drivers' Championship. Nardi X in 3rd. Could have been a little bit more had it not been for him pitting earlier for the drive tyres. But 3rd place he will be satisfied with after a mixture of a season for him. Genzo 4th, a good result for him in the Force India. Curly Whirly 5th. The Eagle Killer, will he be 6th because he does have those time penalties? Clarkey crosses the line 7th, he goes up to 6th. Michael goes up to 7th, but Dom does not go up to 8th, so the Eagle Killer officially finishes in 8th. Alex crosses the line in 10th. It's going to be Tim Palm who will finish in 11th. Flores 12th, wouldn't be surprised if he drops back because of his penalties. 12th for Flores. Pasty finishes in 13th in the end. There you have it. What an amazing final Malaysian Grand Prix we have had here for the AOR Hype Energy F1 Leagues for Season 15 on the PS4 side. An amazing race and a thoroughly deserved victory for Synthetic, as we'll soon be getting to the podium celebrations in just a little bit. There you go. There's Synthetic celebrating his victory and now knows he has a golden opportunity to wrap up the championship next week at Suzuka. It's going to be interesting to see if Ollie D can stop him next week. So, as you see, the champagne sprays a deserved victory for Synthetic. Not even changeable conditions could stop the German, and pretty much a champion's drive from Synthetic. A fully deserved victory for the German in the end there then, as they finish shaking off the champagne. Here is the final results then. Synthetic won the race with Ollie D in 2nd, Nardi X 3rd, Gemzo 4th, followed by Curly Wally 5th, Clarkey 6th, Michael 7th, Eagle Killer in 8th, Dom 9th, Alex running out the points in 10th. Then it's Tim Palmer 11th, Flores 12th, Pasty 13th, Jarno 14th, with the retirements being iSuper Srub, Kian, and iSuper Sub's teammate, which is Falcon, after what could have been for him as well. So, what an amazing Malaysian Grand Prix we have had here at the Sepang International Circuit, and what a way, a good send-off to round off what has been a perfect track here at Sepang. So, in a little bit, we're going to be doing the driver interviews. I will be doing them, and I probably won't be doing the follow-up question like OTG, where I'll just go through my 2 questions, and then we'll wrap it up there. So let's try and get hold of the drivers now. Then the top three drivers for this race, which were of course Synthetic, Ollie D, and Nardi X. So let's see if I can get them in here. So just get his name. Synthetic, whereabouts is he on the list? Has he gone offline, in fact? Let's have a look and see. Synthetic actually gone offline now. Let's have a look. Unless I haven't added him, of course. So, no, I don't think I've added him. I did send him a friend request. Let's see if we can get Nardi X in here, if I've got him on my friends list. I don't think I have, so I'll probably get Ollie D to try and recommend the other two for me. So we will wait and see if we can get interviews with the drivers from what has been an amazing Malaysian Grand Prix here at. Let me just send this guy. See if I have sent him a friend request. In fact, no, I haven't. So let's just quickly do that now. Then just send it to Synthetic. And Nardi X looks to have left us, in fact. So it looks like we're not going to be able to get him to do an interview then. So it looks like we're just going to be doing the top two, it seems. So let me just try again with Ollie D and Synthetic. So it looks like I'll just interview the top two in the Drivers' Championship. So let me just get hold of these guys then, and we'll get on with the questions. So just wait for Synthetic to join us. Nardi X won't be able to join us, so it'll just be the top two in this race then. And so we'll just wait for the race winner to join us, and we will then proceed with the interviews. Here's Synthetic then. So let's get on with the interviews then. It's just going to be you two guys. I think Nardi X has actually just gone offline, so we won't be able to interview third place. So starting off with the then Synthetic, congratulations. A fully deserved victory, I must say, here at the final ever Malaysian Grand Prix. Even it was pretty much a completely dominating race for you, you have to say. Not even changeable conditions could stop you today.
First of all, thank you, but to be honest, it was quite stressful because I did nearly no practice at all in the rain, and I didn't know whether my setup would work. And so I had a lot of trouble in the first few laps. Nardi was really fast at this point, and I knew that Ollie is also really quick in rain conditions. But fortunately, at the end, I had a gap to him, and I was able to carry the race to the end.
So, obviously now, as a result of Ollie finishing second and you winning the race, the gap is now 42 points between the pair of you, and you now have a golden opportunity to wrap up the championship next week. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm not quite sure. It's still a way to go, and the next two races aren't particularly my favorite tracks, so it's looking good at the moment. But Ollie is a really quick driver, and I know he is able to win those races, and I think it will be a fight till the end, and yeah, it will be interesting.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Synthetic. I only have two questions. Unfortunately, OTG isn't with us to do any follow-up questions because he's on holiday. Lucky him. So we'll move on then to Ollie D. Ollie D, great race from you, considering where you started on the grid, finishing P2. And yeah, a brilliant battle with Nardi X. Was the race fun from your perspective?
Yeah, it was very fun actually, and first of all, congratulations to Synthetic. He drove very well again and managed to pick up another win, so fair play to you. But on my side, I think my qualifying let me down, which, like, so far this season I've always been relatively decent at qualifying, but my lap was pretty good, and I think it would have put me on P2, but then around the last corner I got held up by Gemzo on my lap, so that lost me about 2/10, I think, and then yeah, went P8 on the grid, and then got a pretty decent start. I think got up to P5 by the end of the first lap, and then after that there was just a lot of battling, and I was losing a lot of time with other people. But I think once I got into P3, I was pretty quick on the intermediates, and then I think Nardi pitted for dries a bit too early, and then I managed to jump in. So yeah, overall P2, I'm very happy with that.
Very good race from your perspective, but the downside of that is that you lose more points to Synthetic, meaning that the gap, as I mentioned earlier, is now 42 points, to the point where now Synthetic now has a golden opportunity to wrap up the championship next week. What do you have to do, in your opinion, in order to try and stop him?
Well, to be honest, like after Austria with the puncher, I kind of thought it's going to be a long shot to win the championship, especially considering I'm missing the last round as well. So for me, I'm just going to focus on trying to win the next 2 races. There's nothing really I can do to win the championship. I think it's pretty much over for me. So yeah, I'm just going to try my best in the next 2 races and then look forward to the next game and see what I can do on there.
And, well, I want to get your opinions, of course, about the Sepang International Circuit, because as you know, it is the last time we will be visiting here. Is it a track that you're going to miss, or are you just thankful that it's going to be gone for next season? Do you want to start, Synthetic?
To be honest, I really like the track, although I'm not that quick around there, but I think the fast corners, especially in the first sector, are really a lot of fun to drive, and yeah, quite a shame.
Ollie?
Yeah, I agree. I really like the track as well. I think it's probably one of the best tracks on the calendar for me. I really enjoy it, and it's a bit of a shame that you have some tracks like Russia which are just terrible and they're on the calendar, and the Malaysia's a pretty decent track but it's been kicked off. But you know, that's what happens in Formula 1, and yeah, I enjoy the track and it's a bit of a shame.
Especially when it's changeable conditions. I think we're all going to miss that, really, especially this race. Thank you, Synthetic and Ollie, for your time here doing the post-race interviews. And that is it for today's live stream. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in to watch this race. I think a load of you tuned in during the changeable conditions bit. I think a lot of you got really excited at that point. So thank you to everybody who viewed the stream. And that is it then. We will see you then, guys, next week at the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka for round 13 of the championship, the third to last race of the season. But until then, I have been Joseph Wellows, and we will see you guys next week. Take care.